Hey guys, Second here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so now we are going to take a look at the AGL Super Saiyan 3 GOTENKS. We're coming fresh off of the end of the GOHANKS showcase. These guys are very similar. They're kind of designed to help each other out with certain activations in their passive and stuff like that, but annoyingly, ever since their release, despite being seemingly designed to be run together, it's kind of like the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4s when they came out. Everything about their design implies that you should run them together, but neither of them are good in slot 1, so they end up not being like a rotation that you can actually run, right? But GOTENKS, much like GOHANKS, greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn, does supreme damage, and then he lowers attack and defense as opposed to GOHANKS, who seals. And then we get attack and defense 150, additional attack 150 when performing a super. He gets the 30% with each super attack performed up to 150. 2 guaranteed additional super attacks when there's a crossover ally attacking in the same turn. When the target enemy is stunned or when the enemy's super attack is sealed. Performs a critical hit when there's another Super Saiyan 3 ally. So the wording is slightly different here because this almost implies, it doesn't say or. So I don't know if there's a spelling mistake here, because this would imply that there has to be another crossover ally in the same turn and the enemy has to be stunned or sealed for him to do the 2 additional super attacks. And obviously we are going to find out here whether that is the case, because we'll see whether he actually does the additionals or not. It should be the case that he is able to get those additionals. I think it is just a weird mistake in the passive, like the wording of it, because him and GOTENKS have always been, or him and GOHANKS I should say, have always been since their release, like basically the same, but with the minor changes to the status effects and like which ones they do and then which one triggers the rest of their passive as well. So it'd be very strange if the GOTENKS one was not only different, but it's considerably worse, because you have to have the crossover ally and the status effect, right? So there's the first super. Yeah, okay. I mean, this could be the hidden potential, but like I say, it should be the same. Otherwise, it would just be super weird. But yeah, there's the 2 additionals. He's up to 11 million already. And then, can we get the hidden potential as well? No. But then we're going to eat a super. Okay, double digits. I mean, these guys don't hit super hard. But, okay, so it is just a weird wording of the passive, because if you can run these guys, you could run them on a non-crossover team, as long as you have a unit on the team that is going to be able to seal or stun. So of course, in events where you can't seal or stun, then you're not going to be wanting to do that, right? Because if you're running this guy on a team where you can't seal or stun the enemy and there's no crossover allies, then obviously he's not going to be getting those additional supers. He needs to super 5 times in order to max out his passive. And of course, he's greatly raising attack and defense on each super attack. So it's very beneficial for him to actually be getting those additional supers, so that then he's good enough to defensively to actually tank hits afterwards as well. So realistically, you're only going to be running him, I would say, on the crossover team or Heroes team, unless you are going into one of these events where the enemy can be stunned or sealed in pretty much every phase, like a lot of the Peppy Gal stages for the heroine battle. But like most of the most difficult bosses, even there are ones occasionally that will let you like attack lower, but when it comes to the hardest hitting, toughest bosses in the game at the moment, like pretty much all of them cannot be stunned or sealed. So that means you're going to have the crossover ally, otherwise GOTENKS isn't going to be getting those additional super attacks, and then obviously is not going to be anywhere near as good. So he also has like 1 or 2 links that are different. I know he has the Innocence instead of Cold Judgment, which obviously Cold Judgment is a link that we can pick up from a couple of the units on the Heroes team, including God Trunks, and gives a lot of defense. The Innocence is a link that I think we get from Pan, but is not a like crazy defense link like the it's not a crazy defense link like Cold Judgment is, which does leave him at a little bit of a disadvantage. But so here we've got Super Saiyan Fused Fighter shattering the limit. He's at 366k start of turn 2. But this is the exact thing like we were talking about in the GOHANKS run, right? Like the GOHANKS and GOTENKS, they're very similar, so I don't want to repeat like all the talking points from the GOHANKS showcase, but like I don't understand why they didn't get defense on super as well. They get attack 150 on super but not defense. On this turn, if we're up to about 360k, that means that we are getting a greatly raised defense thing 3 times at minimum, right? He could get a 4th one, which means we're going to tank normals well against most bosses, not going to be tanking supers. Also, I will say with this Gotenks, as much as it's a basic, like it's not like a crazy super detailed super attack or anything, I do like the like burning attack hands into the Kamehameha, like super attack animation. It's pretty cool. So obviously our passive is now fully maxed out, and that's the thing, we can take him into events like this. You know, the Family Kamehameha Blue Zone stage isn't like the hardest event or anything like that, but take him into these stages, have him throw out a bunch of super attacks, do a relatively decent bit of damage, and then obviously, you know, tank normals left and right for double digits. Like, that's really good. But when it comes to the more difficult content, especially when you can't put on any status effects at all, then obviously the Gotenks and the Gohanks do kind of lose a little bit of their value. But there will be those events where we're able to do these effects. You do have the Innocence, don't you? Yeah, what is your... Yeah, it's attack 15%. So you could certainly argue that, like, the Gohanks is a little bit better because he has a link that gives him 20% defense instead of a link that gives him an extra 15% attack, which, I mean, the extra attack is nice. And obviously they have the Super Saiyan 3 links because they are both Super Saiyan 3 characters. They do also get, they both get guaranteed crit, right, if there's a Super Saiyan 3 unit on the rotation with them. But as I said in the Gohanks showcase, like, that's not really the be-all and end-all. Like, it doesn't make them significantly better that they'll be getting guaranteed crits. It is nice if we're getting these turns where they're dropping, like, triple 10 million plus attack stats, but having to run a Super Saiyan 3 ally, like on the current build of the Heroes team, realistically the only one that's still kind of runnable is Xeno Goku because he has the damage reduction. But even then, like, he's built for full dodge nowadays and not really wanting to get hit by big supers. So you're probably going to be missing out on the Super Saiyan 3 ally part of their passive more often than not, unless you are just deliberately bringing a Super Saiyan 3 ally so that they can get it. I mean, Super Saiyan 3, if we get some more buffs, again, I mentioned it in the Gohanks video, if we get the Super Saiyan 3 STR Vegeta EZA, or Super EZA, I should say, he obviously is a crossover character, so that would work out quite nicely for building like a sort of Super Saiyan 3 team, where you're actually still able to get your passive fully active. But yeah, he's at 450k, so even after a triple super turn, because the greatly raised defense, my understanding is from the normal super attack effect that it's not off of this defense, right? It's off of an earlier number because this is where he's stacked up his passive. If it's off of this number, then actually he's a lot better than I thought, right? Because if he's got 450k defense here now, and every time he supers, he's getting 50%, which is another 225, then obviously if he does 3 supers, that's another 675k defense. He goes up to like 1.1 million, but I don't think it works like that. Like, someone can clarify. I know there's people in the comments that do are good with the calcs and everything, but the super attack effect, like greatly raised defense, my understanding is it isn't from the defense that you see like in the team menu, which is why, like, I feel like they should have just got the 150 attack and defense on super, then they would be significantly better, and it wouldn't make them like super broken best TUR in the game all of a sudden or anything like that for them to have that extra defensive buff. It would just make them a bit more reliable when you're going into some of these tough situations. But attacks wise, I mean, 10 million attack stat on its own is not crazy, but the fact that we're going to do a guaranteed like 3 supers here, we go up to 12 mil. So we've done what, 33 million worth of attack stats in this turn, and then we get the hidden potential as well, so we go up to like 46. I mean, that's pretty decent. And of course, if we are in an event where you can lower attack, every single one of those super attacks lowers the enemy's attack as well. So definitely can be useful for some events, to be sure. But yeah, so it feels like some weird design in their EZA, like having the Super Saiyan 3 ally, like I say, kind of, it's almost like it's in there so that you can run the two of them together and they're giving each other guaranteed crits, but then you're not going to be running them on rotation. So I think one of the best things to do is, like, if the enemy is susceptible to a specific type of super attack, like at the end potentially, you could always run like the one that's going to be actually doing the status thing. Like if an enemy can be sealed, have Gohanks on main rotation and just float Gotenks, and then every now and then they are going to be on the same turn and they are going to get that buff, because it is only, like I say, it's only giving them guaranteed crit, which is good, but it's not something that it suddenly makes them bad if they don't have it. So yeah, so now we have the Innocence active and Shattering the Limit, so we're at 509k defense start of turn, so it's not bad. And then yeah, we're only taking one attack here, so you can grab this for you. Oh, there's a bit of a misclick there for the orbs for Pan, but I guess we'll have to make do. Dark Mask King should heal us back with this super attack here anyway, although we've got type disadvantage, so if he doesn't crit, maybe not, but never mind. Yeah, we start off at 12.5. Now that's a good turn for this guy for damage output, starting out at 12.5, then we get the additional goes up to 13.5, so already at like what, 26 mil worth of attacks, and then we go up to 40 mil here. There's the crits as well, so even without the Super Saiyan 3 ally, like with the Pan support giving everyone extra crit chance, Pan not getting a dodge, you hate to see it, but she dodged the super, so I guess that's the more important part. But yeah, Gohanks and Gotenks are certainly interesting. I don't think they are particularly crazy. I think once the new units have come out and we're thinking about like what is the most optimal build of the Heroes team now, I don't think it will include Gotenks or Gohanks, but they are going to have somewhat niche use in events where you can use the status effects, like we said with the heroine battle stages and stuff like that. These guys are going to come in quite handy. I was unable to do Mai or Bulma with the units that we had before the EZAs dropped, but I think now with the characters that we have just from the EZAs, not even without the new units that are going to release, I think we could probably do both of those stages, because God Trunks and Mechikabra are obviously going to help out with the orbs for the rainbow stage. Gotenks and Gohanks can obviously do loads of additional supers for the additional supers part. I mean, realistically, you just have to have Gotenks and Gohanks on separate rotations, and then they get 3 super attacks, and you have to super 3 times, or is it 4 times in the turn to not lose, but they're going to do 3 as long as they get the original 1, of course, which Bulma giving everyone -9 key is super annoying, but they're going to do a minimum of 2, even if they don't get their initial 1. So that's certainly going to be helpful. And then Mai, the only reason Mai was difficult with the Heroes team is because Vegito's kind of the only one that does damage. Killing her before she does her mega one-shot super was really difficult. But now with units like God Trunks, who's got type advantage over her and deals big damage, and some of these other EZAs, I think both of those stages will be quite a bit easier to do now. And then of course once all the new units drop, it should be fine. So of course, as I mentioned on streams, and I think I might have mentioned it in at least one of the showcases, we will be going, once all the units are out and we've summoned them all, rainbowed them all, link leveled them all, we will be going on the Heroes Revenge Tour videos, and potentially a big stream, maybe like a subathon style stream, where we go through and beat all of the difficult events in the game with the Heroes team. So that should be fun. Do these guys lower your key? -2. Okay, I was going to say, because we have Shattering the Limit active, yeah, but we've still got -2 key. So fortunately we can do that. So what's his start of turn defense here? 410k. He's going to greatly raise 3 times. So again, if it was 50% of that, it means he goes to 1,000,000 defense. We can't attack lower these guys though. So this is the issue with these, some of the weaker of the Heroes EZAs, is like, I know he's got type disadvantage, but even if it was type neutral, if they super him here in the middle, then he's dead, right? So let's see what we get here. No crit, sadly. Man, if only we had a Super Saiyan 3 ally, eh? 11.6. Hidden potential? Nice. 12.3. So 4 super attacks in the turn. Don't get super. Nice. It does take double-digit damage despite the type disadvantage. That's good. So, I mean, yeah, these guys are okay. But unfortunately, the problem is with the meta that we're in now and how tough some of the difficult bosses are, and kind of like the level we expect from Dokkan Fest exclusive EZAs, which I know these guys aren't. So it's not necessarily fair to compare them, but like, look how good Bojack's EZA is that came out on the same day. And then you look at like Gotenks and Gohanks. And the thing is, they are units that are restricted. So it's like, if they're going to be units that are only really like super good on the Heroes team, then make them really, really good like on the Heroes team, right? As I've said this many times before, I don't care about units being restricted if they're really good on the team that they're on, and then it's fine. Like if these guys were, you know, the 2 best units on the Heroes team now with their EZA, but they're the only teams they really work on, that would be fine, because, you know, they can only be used on one team, but they're really good. But instead, they have a bit of restriction that's not too awkward to work around, but then they're just like decent, which is probably not the level that we want these newly releasing EZAs to be at. So let me know what you guys think down below. This marks the final of the showcases for all of the EZA Heroes characters. Let me know which one you think is the best, which ones you think are the worst. I think for me, in terms of the best, like Mechikabura's up there for sure. Pan's pretty good. The free-to-play Toa's actually really good. And then, yeah, we've kind of got the rest sort of fall around the middle, with maybe Gotenks and Gohanks maybe being the worst ones. Like, Vegex was definitely better than I expected him to be, but he's not exactly, like, insanely busted or anything. But, yeah, I don't know. So, let me know what you guys think down below. We'll get one more set of attacks off here with Gotenks. I mean, and against an enemy where you can lower attack, he's going to be very helpful. But they do like to throw those out every now and then, right? Like we got the Vegito stage and the Blue Kaioken Goku stage from the Blue Zone, where it's just like you can just attack lower him repeatedly, and then that makes the stage really easy. Who's to say they're not going to do something like that again, right? And then this guy and Gohanks could have a field day in that event potentially. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section of not just Gotenks, but all the Heroes EZAs. Like I say, let me know your favourite. Let me know which one you think is the worst. Let me know all of that down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.